Pero pag pinagpatuloy pa ni Senator Risa sa ganitong panahon, na katulad nga ng sinabi ko, yung mga athletes na yan, na lockdown, hindi nakauwi, 10 buwan, walang allowance. 10 buwan, walang allowance. This is their livelihood. And you know, the only thing they have left is their pride. So when we do things like that, we slap them in the face. That is what we do, Mr. President. And when Her Honor chooses to use words like white elephant, you make the people who bother listening to us, if there are still people who bother to listen to us, the more that they question our judgment, the more that they question the things that we do to make those who need more in life, to give them a better life. And that is exactly what that project was all about. Ba't kakainin ba natin yon? Hindi. So, ba't tinayo yun? Kasi nga may purpose. We were in line to sponsor, to host the Southeast Asian Games. Was there enough time to go through all the steps? I don't know. But I am sure there's a logical reason, because the president of BCDA is one of those persons that is highly respected in this government. He was pulled in to assist the IATF with the testing, the capacity building, putting up quarantine centers. Hindi mag-aabala si Vince Dizon na mag-cut short lang ng corners para lang batikusin ng ganito. Ginawa niya yon para patayuan ng may pagmamalaki namang stadium ang Pilipinas. So I leave it at that, Mr. President, but I sincerely regret, in as much as we all have the right to stand up here for anything that we want to talk about, we do. Kaya pwede, lahat tayo may right. Pero I sincerely regret na nagagamit ang floor natin para sirain ang napakagandang pangalan ng napakagandang mga proyekto na tinayo para lang naman bigyan ng kahalagahan ang ibang sektor ng ating bansa na normally hindi napapansin. They are normally training, like I said, umiyak sila nung tumuntong sila sa tarp nung track oval na yon. Umiyak sila. Sabi nila, wow, ang lambot. Sabi ko, ba't saan ba kayo nagte-training? Ma'am, dun sa track oval na sira-sira na, sa Pangasinan. Ha? Paano kayo nakarating ng Pangasinan? Wala na ho kami mapag-trainingan sa Metro Manila. And then their facilities, nakatira na rin ako sa Rizal Memorial. As I said, I was a national team athlete. Yung tinirahan ko sa Rizal Memorial noong 1983, awa ng Diyos, ganun pa rin ang itsura. Kung hindi pa natin pinatayo ang track oval sa University of the Philippines, which is open to all, inabot ng mga anak ko, 30 years after I graduated, the same track and football field ng UP. So siguro si UP, sinundan nila by the letter every single step. Awa ng Diyos, inabot ng 4 na taon. Nag-graduate na yung anak ko, never niya na nakitang yung field na yon. That is how infrastructure projects in the Philippines go along. So if you don't want our people to dream, if we don't take a stand and give honor to what should be honored, the people who did right, then we'll just watch our country crumble because we're just going to be finger pointing every step of the way. And I take offense as an athlete, as a mother of athletes, as a mentor and as a friend of all these athletes, whose sole pride was to be able to see such a structure built in their honor, questioned and castigated in this manner. Salamat po.
Mr. President, hindi ginagamit, but we take the floor to hold people to account. No more, no less. At yung ganyang prinsipyo ay ni-raise na rin ng previous opinions and observations, as I said, ng GCG, ng OGCC at ng COA. And speaking of, was there enough time to do things by the book, to be sure not to cut corners, to observe all the processes under the law? Sigurado, Mr. President, there would have been time. Kasi ayon sa timeline, August 16, 2017 pa lang, ang BCDA ay unang tumanggap ng unsolicited proposal mula sa MTD Capital Berhad for the construction of the National Government Administrative Center o NGAC in New Clark City. So ibig sabihin po, Mr. President, a full 2 years bago na-consummate itong proyekto, there would have been all the time para siguruhin na nasusunod ang mga batas which I have cited in my questions. Yung mga batas tulad ng Build, Operate, and Transfer Law na may kinalaman sa tamang bidding at hindi yung i-label itong proyekto na isang joint venture. Yung batas nga tungkol sa bidding at procurement o new procurement law, yung mga batas sa ating banking sector na dahil sa ating kasaysayan ay nagsisiguro na hindi behest loan ang posibleng makuha sa ganitong mga proseso. At yung ibang mga batas na nagsisiguro na tama at optimally ginagamit natin ang public funds para sa patuloy na pagtataguyod ng ating public infrastructure, including sports infrastructure. So even on that point of time, Mr. President, which the gentle lady mentioned, I would surmise certainly there would have been enough time to do things by the book, observe all the nitty-gritty nitong mga batas na may kinalaman sa ganitong mga proyekto at proseso, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Well, just to add a little trivia, of course, it's very known fact that I have been a national player of the Philippines since 1976 all the way to 1987. I do understand the points being raised. And more particularly about the athletes. But this one thing that really got my attention in the facilities that were built. It was only then that I found out last Southeast Asian Games for the reason that our swimmers always have a hard time against the foreign competitors. We always see the Olympic swimming pool. Yun ang ginagamit nila, Olympic-sized swimming pool. Yun ang competition, di ba? Yung pala, mayroon pang isa pa dapat na Olympic-sized swimming pool other than the one that's going to be used, which we now have. Dati wala tayo. Kasi dapat pala, bago mag-compete, tumitira na dun muna. Nagpa-practice muna doon sa isa. Kaya doble pala yun, pagkayang gano'n. Anyway, the other countries had that before. Singapore and all that. Tayo yung nagtsatsaga sa, may mga lumot doon sa ultra. So now, we not only have a top-level Olympic-sized swimming pool for international competitions, we also have an international Olympic-sized swimming pool for the training, not the official pool that is being used. Anyway, just the trivia for the record. So, Majority Leader, Senator Cayetano, go ahead.
Mr. President, since you mentioned that by Olympic standards, you're right, that's a requirement that you have they call it a warm-up pool.
Yun,
So
yun,
without that,
warm-up
you cannot get the proper accreditation.
Mhm.
You will not receive that highest level of accreditation, and you will not be able to sponsor international competitions. So in fact, Mr. President, during the Southeast Asian Games, as it was happen, sa sobrang tuwa nung ating National Sports Association ng Swimming, they already said yes to host this international competition. I'm not sure if it was this year, so baka hindi nga natuloy because of COVID, no? Because they are now qualified to host those kind of swimming events, which we could not do before. Kung familiar kayo sa Rizal Memorial tsaka sa Ultra, hindi ganun ang swimming pool doon. And I'd also like to spread into the record, similarly for the track oval, So the ones that you would have seen, for anyone here who watched it, that track oval is the main track. Pag lumabas ka dun sa stadium, there's another track, Mr. President. Kasi ganun din, it is required that there is a warm-up track. And then, in addition to that, underneath the stadium, that really underneath, because same level ng ground, inside the stadium, indoor, merong mga 100-meter din na track. So, pag matagal ka pa, doon ka magwa-warm up sa labas. Pag malapit ka na, pwede ka mag-sprinting dun sa loob. And then finally, in the main. All of this would not be accredited. Again, yung white elephant na inaabala nyo, Madam Sponsor, we can now host international competitions. And that will even be cheaper for our athletes because they don't have to keep going abroad. We can host. It brings glory to the country. Mura para sa ating mga athletes and coaches. May facilities naman doon para matulog. Hindi ko natapos yung kwento ko, pero yung sinasabi kong natutulog ako doon sa dorm, doon sa Rizal, na ngayon ganun pa rin. Now, we have world-class facilities. Nung nakita ng mga athletes, naiyak sila. Kasi mukha daw hotel yung kanilang kwarto. Ano sasabihin natin ngayon? Dapat hindi mukhang hotel yan. Dapat mukha lang kayong tabi-tabing dormitoryo. Di ba nila karapatan yon? Na humiga dun sa hindi iniipis, na humiga sa magandang kama, na magkaroon ng magandang banyo? So yan ang kine-question natin. Anyway, Mr. President, it's because of you na dinagdag ko to dahil nabanggit niyo yung swimming pool. Dinagdag ko na rin po yung track oval. Thank you.
Right.
No,
The
Mr.
majority
President.
leader.
Mr. President, if I may.
Senator Alveros, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. No, Mr. President, again, if the good gentle lady had caught the greater or most part of my speech, she would have understood what I am saying. It is not our honorable athletes who have poured their hearts out in the pool, on the track, on every terrain and equipment where they raise the flag of our country, who are in question here at all. I celebrate our athletes and they are people of honor and dignity, and certainly bilang mga kababayan natin, they would also not want such questions that have been raised by executive and constitutional bodies to remain unanswered conclusively and cast any shadow of possible corruption on the gold and the silver and the bronze they have brought to our country for the past many years, no? So let us continue to support our athletes, but also to honor them. Let us consider clearing all these questions about possible corruption once and for all. And since the good lady from Taguig mentioned the BCDA chair, well, even he is facing graft and corruption charges. So why is it something that the Senate could not consider looking into? So let us understand clearly what each one of us expresses when we take the floor to deliver a privileged speech. Klarong-klaro ko, Mr. President, yung mga bodies na inireiterate ko, yung mga tanong sa kanila, BCDA, MTD Berhad, at ang DBP, at klarong-klaro rin yung mga batas na itinanong ko kaugnay nitong mga issue. Walang kinalaman po sa ating mga atleta, untarnished ang kanila pong mga tagumpay para sa ating bansa. Ang kailangan pang klaruhin ay itong mga issue na iniraise na dati ng COA at iba pa, at ngayong araw ay niraise ko rin sa floor. At saka lastly, papangit ba ang mga facilities natin kung ibinid out? Hindi rin naman, di ba? Salamat po ng marami, Mr. President.